I was with a company that we made candles, and I was involved with steam and all that with boilers. And I met from the Marriver family in the 70s, 80s, where it was a tanning factory. And the tanning with steam. So they had steam machines and boilers, which I used to service the boiler. And also when they had for inspection time, for the 3-year inspection, I was just to get the boilers ready for the inspection. So I met the family. Then Louis at the time, he was still going to college, and his dad, when I came down, they said they've started a museum. They've got a car that they want me to rebuild. I said, well, listen, just leave me for 1 year so I can have peace of getting away from Joburg. 1 year, and then I'll come and talk to you guys. And I came back after a year, which is 2002, 2001. And they said, yeah, okay, where's the car? And they had a workshop higher up there. It was still a small little place. It hadn't been this. And I said, there's a body over there, and the chassis over there, and the motor, that's at the engineering company. But I got it all together eventually. And it turned out quite a nice motor car, which I wasn't. It was a Jaguar SS100, which is a very well sought after motor car. Got that all together for them, and then they started improving the museum, and I just carried on from there on. I found that car in Mozambique. So it's an Austin Healey, but it has racing history, and I managed to get it up here somehow or another. And I said, can you resurrect that car? If we want it to be like an old Austin Healey. I said, no, this car was raced. I've got the proof. There's a bloke with a racing helmet in it. Mm-hmm. And he said, so I rebuilt that car. It had no engine, no motor, no gearbox, just the axles and rusted wheels. Upholstery was non-existent. And so I put the whole lot together. But this was built for him at the works in England by Leyland. They actually built it, and this was for more air, to get more wind through the radiator, and that's actually aluminium. It's not pipe. He had a Rover motor in there, a V8. That's originally, I think that was in here, but I managed to put the original mountings, and then that was a proper Austin Healey engine, the 3 litre, which I found in Woodbank. And Overland, 1912.
Where was this thing made?
In America.
Yeah.
But they found it down in the Cape somewhere in a house which had been dismantled, the whole car.
Yes.
And the owner of the car now, they sourced it and they brought it up here, and it was assembled by a friend of mine. It's gone now, Ian Chippett, and he put it all together. There's nothing missing. It was all there.
Wow.
But he did some modifications.
Okay.
To change the lubrication system because it was still the old oil waste situation. But he managed to put a double sump and put an oil pump, and he drilled the crank. So the main bearings were fed by pressure oil, and the big ends by the old scoop method. And so he changed that whole oiling system because it used to be a drip, and you had to adjust it, and you used to pick up the oil from by one sump and then put it back into the lubricator, which people used to forget about and then blow the motor up. So we changed that all. And a beautiful old lady, medieval's.
Wow, look at those leather seats and that, eh? Yeah. I think Lewis Hamilton wouldn't mind one of those steering wheels, eh?
This is a beautiful car.
Yeah.
It really is. And this was the aircon.
The aircon?
That used to clip in here.
Oh. True story, eh?
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Fantastic.
When it's open slightly, so you've got a breeze coming through here. Like 1947 was they had surplus jeeps after the war.
Yes.
And they converted these jeeps as a farm vehicle to use them on farms. And with that, using that, they had this put on the back. So there's a transfer box going through into a power takeoff plant, so they could put belts onto water pumps and onto threshing machines for maize and that, so they could adapt this and they could pull a plough with it as well. This was the 1910 Model Ts, which was very popular with old Henry Ford. Made these Model T Fords.
Okay. Do you have any of those ones that the gangsters used?
Well, no, I haven't, but there is a bloke down at Blondell.
He's got one of.
He's got one of, that was a Packard.
Oh, is that what it is? Why did the gangsters like the Packards?
Because it had power and had plenty of room, and it used to have, I think the first cars, apart from the police, used to have brakes on the front wheels.
Okay.
The older cars only had brakes on the back wheels, so the police had cars that had brakes so they could brake quicker on the corners. And they had to brake earlier, where the police didn't have to brake earlier.
Oh.
And that's how they were caught out. So they got this Cadillac but it was a tank.
Yes.
But it had what they called a gunman's seat that used to sit behind the driver looking back.
Yeah. Oh yes.
So there was a little seat especially for
the gunman.
For the gunman.
Cool.
They were Jewish, and they worked for Henry Ford, the Dodge brothers.
Okay.
They were called the Dodge brothers.
Yeah.
And when they developed the mass production for Henry Ford, he promised them some odd shares in the business and that. And then at the end, when he was going strong, he said, I don't need you any longer. And they got quite obviously upset with him. And he said, what we're going to do, we're going to start building cars that are far superior than the Ford. Because they were engineers.
And is that where the Dodge
brothers came in? Here's a Dodge car, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And if you look on the Dodge car, it's got the Star of David.
Oh. And the Star of David being because they were Jewish guys, obviously, yeah.
And they created the Chrysler cars, which
Okay.
became more, how can I say, more of a comfortable car to drive in, more power, all that. And so they actually showed up better cars than Henry Ford was doing. And they modified the engine, like the Chev in 1928 had an overhead valve, and Ford only put an overhead valve in 1931. So he was already 4 years behind them.
Okay.
With the engine development.
And this little guy, what is this? This is a
DKW.
DKW. Is this one that's got ting? It's like ting 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 cars. Or is it, it's also got 3 cylinders.
Yes, this is the 2-cylinder one.
2-cylinder.
2-cylinder. That was what we used to call the ring, ting 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 ting.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, they had the commemorative services here in White River in 1985. And they were having a parade down the main street of White River, and they asked can we bring some old cars, and I brought this one down. And halfway through there, they had a lot of horses, and the horses were getting a little bit, and they asked me could I pull out of the bloody thing because it's upsetting the horses because of the smoke. Because we used to have 2-stroke, and used to bellow out smoke in the back, and the horses couldn't handle the smoke.
Is it?
So they asked me could I please leave the parade if they don't mind. But I just want to show you something. The interesting motor car. Apparently, what I heard, it had some history. As Mandela was driven around it at some period of time, it was driven in this motor car.
This very car?
In this very same car.
Oh, wow.
So I'll show you the openings of the doors. There's the open, what they call suicide doors. It's open that way.
Okay. Why is it called a suicide door, by the way?
Because when you open it up and the car is riding, it used to pull you out. The wind used to catch it.
Exactly.
And if you listen, this is when they used to make a car. Hear the doors closing?
Yeah.
And they used to have a blind on the back there. It had ashtrays on the side here for your ash, for your cigarettes. And the seat used to fold forward, and this used to go forward, and you used to get in and out easy on the motor car. But this was for a passenger, so you could keep your legs out straight, and then the back for another passenger, so keep the doors, seats a bit forward, so the passengers had enter into the car. But if you have the doors, no slamming.
What are you working on now? What car?
Well, it's actually for one Fiat 124.
That Fiat up there, yes?
I would have liked to work on this car, which is the Auburn.
Yes.
A very, very, very good car, strong car. And I've got the engine, most of it done already, but it's a lot of parts are still sourced.
Where are you guys going to? Where are you
Only
sourcing?
from America.
America. Is there somebody on that?
It's somebody always, there's always looking for something. This cylinder head we had course made for us in Cape Town, because we sourced one in England, but in America, but they wanted exorbitant price. But that was the original head, but this bloke in Cape Town manufactured this head. What he did, they didn't cast this head. They used 2 blocks of aluminium. So they machined those surfaces. So when they did that, they split it in half, so they could do the water jacket on the one side, and on the other half they did the combustion chamber. And then they married the 2 together, so it became one solid head.
Fantastic.
Don't put nothing against South African engineers. We had some of the best that were in the world here in South Africa. Engineers, I'm including mechanical, construction, building, dams. We had some of the best engineers. And I served my apprenticeship with Steve on locomotives, which was one of the best known railways in Africa, was the Rhodesian Railways. So I served my apprenticeship in Bulawayo in 1955 on locomotives.
Awesome.